Well, you are watching Citizen Extra live on Citizen TV. We are in the third hour, the big issue today being, of course, IEBC gubernatorial nominations. We are live from different locations, and right now let's cross over to Kasarani, where I believe Peter Kenneth has received his nomination certificate. I had seen some images shortly, but he'll be having a presser shortly, and that is what, there we go. He had received his nomination certificate, and he'll be having a press conference shortly to share on the whole process, and I'm sure his wish list for the campaign period. He'll probably have some advice or words for his political opponents. We will be heading over to that shortly. Meanwhile, we carry on with our discussion here. As I mentioned, we're here with John, Francis, and David, experts in their own right in politics, governance, and public policy and development consultancy and development issues as well. And we're talking about IEBC, but we're going to switch gears from talking about IEBC nominations and integrity issues and talk about IEBC preparedness with less than 70 days to the elections. Now, some news that caused a lot of discussion out there about the suspension of a senior IEBC director. It has raised questions about their preparations for the August elections, and my question is, and we'll probably start with John, what are the potential implications of what we are hearing happening at the IEBC? You can also rope in the ballot paper saga that, of course, had dominated headlines for some time. What do you think these implications are, including, of course, the suspension of a senior director as well?
By and large, IEBC seem to have stuck to most of the timelines, despite the fact that they have been pushing forward quite a number of these deadlines, and they have done that in the past. We have seen that, especially where majority of the candidates are involved. Again, also because of the preparedness of the parties, because these things go together. Like the issue of dispute, you remember, it took a lot of time to have it resolved. Even when they had extended with only a few days, again, it still took more time. Now, if you look at issues of procurement, we still seem to be lagging behind, because I can see until now, the IEBC doesn't seem to have cleared all the issues of procurement of the ballot papers and such. And I also think we have a timeline on the issue of technology in terms of adopting the technology that is going to be used in our general elections in August. And again, this does not seem to have been settled. It is not a settled matter as yet, because, Maura, by now we should have had a bit of layout of this technology on the ground and even testing it, so that we can see whether it is working or not. And this is something that should have been going parallel to the clearance of the candidates as it's happening now. So I think that is an area where IEBC will need to demonstrate that they are ready. But as of now, it doesn't look like they are ready for the game in August this year. Now, again, the suspension of a senior ICT director also sends the shockwaves down the whole spine of IEBC, because if you are removing the person who is in charge of operations in terms of the ICT, but for a good reason though, because we are told that he had a problem with compliance to issues of audit. Now that again boosts the confidence of the Wananchi on IEBC, because they seem to then be taking action. But as they are taking action at this time, they also need to ensure that the person then who comes on board to take care of the ICT docket then is a person who has good and proper understanding of how they should be working. Because you remember in 2013, the issue that let us down badly and had a very huge impact on our election was the issue of the machines that could not integrate and they could not work together. And they alluded to the issue of not having enough time to have tested. So are we now resolving that issue by testing these equipments well ahead of time? I actually want to pose that same question to David Osiani. Are we now at a better place than we were in 2013 in terms of resolving some of these issues?
Systems are as good as the people that work in them. And the Constitution can try to make the IEBC as good as it can on paper. Eventually, it will take...
David, hang on a little bit. I can see Peter Kenneth in Nairobi at Kasarani addressing the press. Let's have a listen in to his statement.
just expect a fair, free and credible elections. We want to campaign, tell the people of Nairobi what we can do for them. We have very good track record to work for them. Dan and I bring enough synergies to ensure that Nairobi can regain its glory. We are aware there are candidates who have no agenda and destined to disrupt our campaigns, but we are ready. I think the people of Nairobi want good ideas, not acts of theatrics and acts of disruptions. We want to conduct mature campaigns that will endear us to the people. And we start our campaigns on Monday, and we'll visit all the constituencies and do door to door. So we are very ready for this, and we want to assure our opponents to be ready for what we will unleash in terms of campaigning and in terms of selling ideas to the people of Nairobi. The last 4 years have been a nightmare for Nairobi, despite almost 100 billion being pumped in through revenues and allocations. We must reverse that. We must ensure service delivery is key. We must empower our many young people who are jobless, who are feeling hopeless and helpless. We must reverse that trend so that we can live in harmony in our beautiful city of Nairobi. Thank you. We will launch it. We have it ready. We are going to be releasing it before the official launch, but it's going to be there as we do the campaigns. We will look for a day and launch it. As you can tell, some of the ideas that we've been talking about are already being copied. The good thing is that those who are articulating and copying do not have the facts that have backed our manifesto. So we will release with clear timetable and timeline of what we will do and what time we'll achieve it.
The President has already endorsed the consider this a blow.
As you know, I'm running as an independent candidate. The President is, whatever he has done for his candidate. We are in competition with that candidate, and we will meet in the field with that candidate. The seat here in contest is governorship, not presidency. So we are running for governorship of Nairobi, and we want the people of Nairobi to willingly elect one, their governor of choice, and more important, a governor who will work for them, a governor who has a track for working for them. That's the most important thing for the people of Nairobi. We want to ease traffic, we want to have garbage collection, we want to take care of our hawkers and the informal sector so that they are not harassed in the city permanently. We'd like to take care of everybody who lives in Nairobi, and I think that is what will count on the 8th of August when we decide and determine who the next governor is. Thank you. Every candidate has a right to support whoever they want to support, and I think that's the most important thing. As I say, the contest here remains for the seat of Nairobi. Thank you. Haya, leo tumepata nafasi ya kupewa shahada ya kuendelea kugombea kiti cha ugavana wa Nairobi, tukiwa na mgombea mwenza wangu Daktari Dan Shikanda. Yeye si mgeni, amekuwa katika siasa ya Nairobi, amekuwa ametia fora katika mambo ya kandanda, na tumefurahi ya kwamba tumepata hiyo shahada. Sasa sisi tunajiunda, tunajitayarisha kuanza campaign mashinani kutoka Jumatatu ijayo, na tunafurahia, tumeeleza mkuu wa uchaguzi tunataka uchaguzi wa haki, wa amani na ambao utaimanika. Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema tumesikia vile wengine wanataka kufanya, hawana agenda ya Nairobi. Wanataka kuleta fujo na vurugu katika kampeni za watu wengine. Waelewe hii Nairobi haina hiyo nafasi. Nafasi ya watu wa Nairobi ni kuangalia maono na sera ya wagombea kiti cha ugavana, na tuko tayari. Kama unavyojua, gavana ambaye amekuwa hapo miaka 4 amewahi kupewa pesa isiyopungua ama inayokaribia bilioni 100 kwa muda wa miaka 4 iliyoisha, kwa revenue na kwa allocation zote mbili. Na basi tutamuuliza alifanya nini, manake sisi hatujajionea yale ambayo alifanya. Wengine nao waje wauze sera, tukutane kiwanjani, ni kiwanjani cha siasa, sivyo? Asanteni sana. Mimi nagombania kiti kama mtu independent. Mimi naomba, najua wapiga kura wa Nairobi ni watu wa Nairobi. Nitaenda kwa watu wa Nairobi, ndio wataamua ni nani atakuwa gavana wao. Na wengi wako pale nje, ukitaka kuwauliza hayo maswali, kuwa tayari. Tunaenda kuwahutubia, sivyo? Basi mturuhusu tupige siasa kule na wananchi. Asanteni. Not read the newspapers. I was busy preparing. I don't know what transpired.
You have another PK party symbol on an independent.
It was a live press statement by former Gatanga Member of Parliament Peter Kenneth, who has just received his nomination certificate. He'll be vying as an independent candidate. From there, we cross over to Kiambu County, where supporters of William Kabogo, okay, you can see that just on the lower part of your screen, supporters of independent candidate and incumbent governor William Kabogo are carrying out a little dance, some singing there as they await his arrival. He is expected to present his documents any minute now. He's the immediate former Juja Member of Parliament, of course the current governor, and he's hoping to defend his seat. He lost to his bitter rival Ferdinand Waitito during the Jubilee nominations. At some point he seemed to have conceded and dropped out of the gubernatorial race completely, but he later on said that the people have asked him to carry on and to finish the work that he has done, so he chose, or he then decided to vie as an independent candidate, and he's expected to present his documents to IEBC any minute. Let's see whether we can catch him actually arriving. I'm not sure how far away he is, but he had been slated to appear at about 9. It's now over 2 hours later, but he knows he has until later this afternoon to make his presentation to the IEBC, sign any documentation that they might require him to sign, and thereafter, should all go well, leave with the nomination certificate. Some celebrations, pre-celebrations I must say, in Kiambu County. I say pre because Governor Kabogo has not yet arrived to go through that process with the IEBC. Once he does so, then we'll cross back to Kiambu and bring you those pictures. But his supporters have gathered lined the road that he's expected to pass as he makes his way to where IEBC have set up shop. He'll go through that process. For many, it seems to be taking about 30 minutes or so, depending on how many questions they might have to take from the IEBC, and thereafter, once they receive their certificate, we expect that Governor Kabogo will do a press statement to members of the press there, and we will get that as and when we get it. I was going to come back here and carry on with the debate, but I'm told that we go back to Kirinyaga now, where Anne Waigoro, former Devolution Cabinet Secretary, has been given her certificate He has met all the requirements of the IEBC, and there we go. So yeah, we can now see that clearly. She has received her certificate. She's now posing for members of the press, holding that. And let me confirm that these are live pictures. These are live pictures that we're bringing. I'm also told that in Nairobi County at Kasarani, independent candidate Miguna has come back to the IEBC. Yesterday we know that he had been turned away because of a challenge with the names that he was supposed to collect to endorse his candidature as an independent, because he's not been endorsed by a political party. I believe he had gone back again yesterday, but what we can see now, the fact that he's there purely must mean that he had gone to change the format of the document that he had presented from JPEG to Excel, and he has returned now to make that presentation to ensure that he is on the ballot paper for Nairobi's gubernatorial race come the 8th of August. Now, he expressed even on social media that the issue of JPEG format versus Excel is not a big deal, and he feels that it was unfair that IEBC turned him away just on that, a technicality of sorts. But nevertheless, the IEBC have their rules, they must adhere to, and so there we go. Miguna receiving his certificate, and I'll be curious to see whether who he picked as his running mate, because he had at first on social media introduced a 24-year-old aspirant as his running mate, but yesterday it appeared that he had changed his mind. I'm sure that in his immediate interview after this to our team on the ground there, he'll be able to clarify what some of the issues were. Lots and lots happening across the country. Kirinyaga also, Anne Waiguru has also received her nomination certificate. We're expecting an interview from her in Kiambu. We also know that supporters of Governor William Kabogo have lined along the streets, waiting for a chance to see their governor as he makes his way to the IEBC to present his document. Let's have a listen in to Miguna's statement immediately after receiving that much coveted nomination certificate.
I felt yesterday, and no, I was facing the lady who asked the question. Please, you are a journalist, don't argue. Let me address you. Alright? We are very pleased with my running mate. Please, can you just allow her to have some space? Alright? With my running mate, that we've come today to collect our nomination certificate. The process ended yesterday, and we were not blocked. We were cleared yesterday, but I signed the nomination certificate today, and we have collected it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a different campaign from the rest of our opponents. As I have told the country before, our opponents comprise just one thing. They are a group of people that have used their positions of power to loot the public resources in Kenya. So we have Kidero Evans, who bankrupted Mumias, and who has continued to loot the government and the county of Nairobi. And the Auditor General has said that Kidero Evans has...
And so my focus will be mostly on improving the livelihoods of farmers, focusing on the agro sector, especially coffee and tea and rice. That will be one of our greatest focuses, because you know that we are mostly an agrarian community. And we will also be looking at our healthcare. It's in a deplorable state. We will be working with the national government to see how we can improve the state of our healthcare. Water and sanitation is one of our biggest issues, especially in the rural urban areas around Kerogoya, Kagio, going to the Moya side. There's a very huge problem with regards to water and sanitation, and that will be our third focus. And the fourth one will be education. We are very good in education, but we do not have a very good transition rate as a county, and so we'll be working again with the national government, because the county government function ends at the lower level, but we can work with the national government to ensure that our transition rates of those who are educated in Kirinyaga are actually able to get into the tertiary institutions, whether it is technical and other government institutions, to ensure that we're empowering our people. So we are ready to start working. We are clear on what it is that we're offering the Kirinyaga people. They have bought into this agenda. They are supporting us, and we are very, very grateful today that we got our certificate.
The reasons in terms as the two hosts yourself, and of course massacre, what you fear?
No, I think it should be the other way around. I think we've looked at the ratings. The ratings that were done recently give us 80%, she has 13. I think it should be the other way around in terms of fear. And if you walk around Kirinyaga, they will tell you. They've already made up their mind. This is predominantly a Jubilee zone, and we went through a Jubilee nomination, and it was very loud and clear who they wanted to be their governor. Thank you.
Another question, please. You are on Jubilee, Massacre will be on NATCAN, but they are losing independence. To you, do they really give you a headache?
No, because as I said, Kirinyaga is predominantly a Jubilee county, and the people of Kirinyaga already made their decisions when they went through nominations, and so there would be no issue whatsoever in terms of whether their independence is within their rights to stand. But we are not very worried about them. You saw the numbers that they got even during the election, and so we expect that they'll probably even get worse. If I was to advise them, I'd tell them, especially my counterpart for the governor, I would tell him to just not run, because it will be embarrassing. I think it is good that you just accept what the Kirinyaga people have decided and work with those who have been put there, see what you can contribute. That is what development is all about.
Okay.
There we go, former CS Devolution sharing. She's just received a nomination certificate. That is her speech. Immediately after that, we cross back to Nairobi County, Kasarani, where Miguna is also addressing members of the press. You can see also William Kabogo, flanked by his supporters, making his way to where IEBC have set up to present his documents. Let's listen to Miguna.
To the IEBC before. You know, this is politics, and I'm a strategist. So that was a decoy, so that they could, you know, the cartels are out there for anything. And you need, if you're going to war, and I'm a real strategist, I will give you a decoy, and you will follow the decoy, and then I will come with the real thing. This is the real deal. You followed the decoy. Thank you very much.
When are you launching your campaign?
My campaign was launched last year, in March last year. What's your name? Jeff. A launch of a campaign is not what you are hearing outside. It's not goonism. It's not theater. It's not dance. It's not music. A launch of a campaign is the unveiling of a manifesto. And I unveiled my manifesto last year, and it is on our website, www.migunamiguna.com. It has been the most articulated manifesto in the Republic of Kenya. These goons that you are following because of the brown envelope do not have manifestos. I say it as it is, because there is nothing they represent other than money, and you guys know. So there is no substance. They have not told you what policies or programs they are going to bring to transform Nairobi. And I have given you policies and programs. And you know that I have absolutely no case of corruption. It's not in my DNA, it's not in my background, and it will not be in my future. So I've answered you. Next. What's your name? So Jeremiah, I am running for the governorship of Nairobi. I am not running for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. Kenyans will elect the president they want. I am just but one voter and a citizen of Kenya. I cannot dictate to Kenyans whom to elect for president. Whoever the country will elect, that will be my president. That is my answer. Yes. I don't think that is a question, but let me answer it nonetheless. The reason why I'm saying it's not a question has to be based on facts. So when I say somebody is a thief, and I have told you why I say he's a thief. Kidero is a thief because he looted Mumias. Kidero is a thief because he has looted Nairobi. Kidero is a thief because the NGO board has deregistered his foundation. There are facts that the KRA has brought forward that is engaged in money laundering. So his theft and looting is documented by evidence. Now when I say PK is a thief, it's because he bankrupted Kenya Re and was removed there by a court order and the Parliament of Kenya. The case was filed by Anyang' Nyong'o in the High Court of Kenya. That's a fact. When I say that Sonko is a criminal, it's because Sonko was convicted by a court of law for theft, fraud, land grabbing. And he went to Shimolatewa prison for more than 6 months. In fact, he should not have been cleared. IEBC is not doing its job. Sonko should never have been cleared because he has a criminal record that has not been sorted out. Then Sonko has been selling drugs in the city using the vehicles called Sonko rescue teams to ship drugs. I have the evidence. If he thinks I'm defaming him, he can go to court. He can't because I will prove it. So when I say that these are baskets of deplorables, I have the evidence. Now when they say Miguna is not realistic, what do they have factually? Nothing. Because when Miguna says that we can do a solid waste management system in Nairobi, we can and must. When I say that I'm going to unveil affordable housing for the people of Nairobi, this is not myth. These are realities because it is done elsewhere and we can do it here. When I say that we will have a light rail system, Addis Ababa has it, South Africa, all the cities have it, the foreign capitals have it. So it is not, and the subway system in London was built in 1863. You know how many centuries ago that is? And so in 2017, some Kenyan journalist who purportedly went to school is still thinking that it is not realistic that a subway system can be built in Kenya. So you see, that's why I said it's not a question. It is just a misguided brown envelope kind of journalism. Next.
PK says
yes.
The fighting between you and him is that because you borrowed him money which he refused to give you.
Okay, so let me deal with this. This is funny.
Yes.
Somebody says, I borrowed money that somebody refused to give. So in that statement alone, you can see the mediocrity. Money is only borrowed if you give it. If you don't give somebody money, they have not borrowed anything. So how can you say somebody borrowed money which you did not give? So you can see logically it makes no sense. He either gave me money which I refused to pay. He has not said he gave me money. You see, the problem with the cartels is that they can only think around money. They cannot think around ideas. And as you can see, it did not make sense logically. Did he give me money? Yes or no? He didn't. So then where is the borrowing? You see, the borrowing did not happen. And there is no, and nobody has said Miguna does not pay his debt. Miguna pays his debt. As a matter of fact, I don't have any debt. Miguna is the only candidate in this race without a debt. Next.
Well, there we go. Miguna Miguna, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, a barrister and solicitor in Canada, former advisor or former senior advisor to former Prime Minister Raila Odinga from 2009 to 2011, giving his views on the nomination process and his chances for election come August 8th to members of the press. But he has received his nomination certificate. He's displayed it to all and sundry, and he now says it's all systems go, and he will begin his campaigns early on. We also saw Peter Kenneth also receiving his nomination certificate. Both are vying as independents, and Peter Kenneth also stated that he will start his campaigns on Monday. He stated that he expects free and fair elections, and he hopes for harmony between him and, of course, the other political opponents, even as they get closer and closer to the elections. We can see in Kiambu, Governor William Kabogo has presented himself to the IEBC. Lots and lots of supporters outside. He's flanked by his running mate and members of his family. And he is vying on an independent ticket. The Jubilee ticket went to Ferdinand Waititu. And we expect a bruising battle there as well in Kiambu County. Well, we continue with our discussion here in studio. Of course, time running out, but maybe to my panelists here, I might throw this out there. What do you take? What's your take on the speeches given by those who've received their certificates? What highlights, can you summarize from what we've just seen on TV? David, maybe we start with you.
Well, interesting is what I'd say. I think we are looking forward to real battles in some of these areas, regardless of who has won the party ticket. Very, very interesting, I must say.
Which counties stand out for you? Where do you expect a real to the wire, political battle between now and August 8th? Essentially, when you talk Kirinyaga, you talk Nairobi, even Kiambu may not be as easy as it seems. I know Babayao stands a fairly good chance, because once you have the party ticket where the party is predominantly popular, then essentially it tilts towards you, but it's not over until it's over. So it brings me back, shortly, if I must say, to what we were saying about IEBC, to get down to what will IEBC be doing. They've been bestowed with the duty that's delicate, very delicate. They must therefore execute it with the exactitude of a surgeon. I speak like that because I'm coming from a process that was flawed myself. I know what happens in such situations. The country, as it were, is dangerously dancing on the precipice of a catastrophe should IEBC fail to execute its mandate with outright fairness and justice. It's not even the presidency only. It will get down to the gubernatorial contests, where there are such vicious wars. You will expect a disastrous backlash if the process is not seen to be fair. So, systems, again, are as good as the people in them. IEBC has a great CEO who I know personally and has a great track record, but he's not going to do it alone. He will have to rely on other people, foot soldiers, to do his bidding. And if they fail, so be it. It gets worrying when we have an ICT department accused, for example, with the case of ODM, that you find things have been tampered with, at least submitted by the party, tampered with. It may not have been the director of ICT who did it. It may just be one of the junior officers who did it. Right. But that raises very critical questions. Is IEBC going to ensure that the election is tamper-proof? Are they going to ensure that it is indeed just? Does it mean that they have truly secured that fact that the election cannot be tampered with? That's right. Well, I asked you a question, you're answering with more questions. Francis Parsime, what do you think IEBC's focus should be over the next 2 months? They don't have much time and they have a lot of tasks. What do you think that they should specialize on?
I think one thing is that so far so good, and I do concur with my brother what he has said. I think we like being optimistic as a country, and I think it is very critically important that we become optimistic. One of the things that they must do for now is to do enough civic education. The do's and the don'ts must go out there to every Kenyan, and if possible, what to look out even for. Number two, they say that you fail or succeed based on the team that you have. So IEBC is not going to function alone, despite the other agencies of clearing the people. During the election day, they must make sure that the security systems they are given perhaps I would do one of the revolutionary things. If I were them, I would actually make sure that the security systems within one locality like a constituency are not going to be the one in charge of that constituency that day. They swap, because one of the frustration in terms of these rigging nominations has been through some of these administrations. So it would be prudent for them to look into it as how logistically possible it is to be able to shift these security systems. Then the ballot papers. They must make sure that we have adequate and enough ballot papers. We do not want a scenario where in polling stations at noon, papers are over and queues are as long as 5 kilometers away. That would be able to bring disaster in terms of the credibility of the elections. Then as they hire the staff, we have had rumors that they are duplicating people who are supervising the nomination for political parties. Please ensure that you do not copy and paste the clerks, the returning officers that were coming from the political parties that conducted a sham nomination. So, and finally, remain focused. If you realize that one of your officers that you have just done, you suspend, don't much listen to what people are saying. You cannot have your cake and eat it at the same time as Kenyans. So when IEBC are convinced that one of them will become a bottleneck to a free and fair electioneering process, I think we should let it, because at the end of the day, the responsibility starts and stops with them.
Thank you.
So I would want them to remain focused and to be very balanced, to listen to everyone. I want to commend them for listening to all the political dispensation, because one of the way of winning everybody is listening to everyone. And I think with this, we can be able to commend them. And I think if these are done and complemented by what us as Kenyans are going to do, let Kenyans be recipients of every candidate. As candidates come out there, preserve your opinion. Don't express it in a manner that provokes the other parties. And if we do conduct ourselves as a civilized society, I am sure by 9th of August, we are all going to be proud. And I want to finish with this one, Miga, that you remember it is said that it's a government of the people by the people. And I think I want Kenyans to remember, when a government is in place, it is not a political party. The government becomes for all. Political parties, there is a very clear boundary. The government should not be exclusivist. It should be able to embrace everyone, and everyone should feel a sense of ownership and belonging. I think that is what we must be able to embrace. And certainly if we do that, then nobody will fear the loss. Nobody will fear the exclusion, that it's our time to eat, the cake is ours. That era is over, and we must focus and let the people decide on who becomes their leader.
Thank you so much, Francis. Let me bring John into this discussion. What lessons, John, do you think the IEBC can learn from the previous regime, the Isaac Hassan team?
This is the first time Kenyans are being given an opportunity to participate in a very elaborate kind of election process. This is the time Kenyans are now starting to understand and to feel the new constitution being implemented when it comes to an elaborate plan on how elections should be done. You will realize that we have not had this kind of an elaborate plan whereby we have dates and timelines that are being adhered to and that are being exposed to the whole public. A lot of times candidates have presented their papers, and at times we do not exactly understand what is happening in the process. By the way, I think in the next 2 weeks, around 12th to 14th, IEBC will be conducting an election conference, a national election conference. And you see, this kind of a conference is going to bring out more issues on how this election is going to be done, and especially on preparedness of IEBC. And candidates will be raising issues from where they stand, and then they will be able to demonstrate that we have a fair process, and that in August we can expect a fair process. You see, now this is a departure from the past. The Isaac Hassan group may not have gone through this kind of an elaborate process, and with this and adhering to this, it is bringing most of the issues on the table. Hence, we will not have candidates then coming to say that there were things that were being done behind their backs, and hence we are likely to have a process that is going to give forth to results that will be accepted on both sides. Because if you have a conference that you're going to be debating and discussing exactly what it is that the election process should be like, and if input from all the political parties, from the presidential candidates, from all the other candidates taken into consideration by IEBC, like we have seen in the past, we have seen meetings between the government and IEBC, we have seen meetings between, that is the Jubilee and IEBC, and also between the opposition and IEBC, and this has helped us to bring forth a lot of issues that are necessary for our national discussion, so that we ensure what is being done is above board, is an accountable and a transparent process that is going to help us to have peace by the time we are having results being announced in August. And I like what the president has said, that he is ready and willing to hand over power to Raila Odinga or to any other candidate if they won fairly. Of course, that is a very big statement, that we are ready to conduct a process that is fair, that is going to be accountable and transparent to the nation, and that we are putting the nation ahead of every other person. So I think at this point what we need to see also from all our candidates is that they follow the code of conduct that is being set forth by, or that has been set forth by IEBC, and ensure that we respect all these rules, so that then we have a process that is going to be credible and that is going to be acceptable to all the people.
Thank you so much, John. Now it's almost time to wind up, because there's something else that will be happening on Citizen Extra shortly. All the days and weeks news trends will be coming up shortly. But before I let my panel go, I want to get one word from them. If each of you gentlemen had a short meeting with IEBC Chairperson Wafula Chebukati, what one thing would you tell him? And by one thing, I mean literally one thing would you tell him? Let's start with you, David.
I would quote for him Ellen Goldhamon White, who says in her book, Young Leaders and Messages to Young People, the greatest want of the world is the want of men, and I dare add women, who can neither be bought nor sold. Men and women who will call sin by its rightful name. Men and women whose conscience is true to duty as the needle to the pole. I hope that is the kind of a man Chebukati, Chiloba, and the entire IEBC team would be. That is the man or woman we would choose for this country. That is the man I endeavor to become.
Thank you so much. And Francis, briefly?
Yeah, I would basically add that we have had commissions in the past that have been in charge of the elections, and no one liked the manner in which they left the offices. Chebukati and the team looks fairly young, and our advice to them, on your part, let the best leaders at this opportune time lead this country. Whoever wins, make sure whatever happens, however much you are vilified by political or the societal quarters, ensure that you are in harmony with your conscience.
Thank you so much, Francis. And John?
Yeah, I will tell Chebukati and his team to do the right thing, to ensure that they are impartial, and that every process they do is above board, and to understand and know that the future of this country is literally in their hands, and it is up to them now to crush it, or to ensure that they give us an election that is going to be acceptable and credible, and then that way we will be happy to continue investing and to stay in wherever we are. We will not have people moving from Rift Valley or moving from Kisumu or Mombasa going to other parts of this country. We have everyone staying where they are, well knowing that they have a peaceful, and we are going to have a peaceful and harmonious coexistence going forward after this general election.
Thank you so much, John. That is the wish list of our panelists in studio today. It's rare to have all panelists agreeing, but they seem to be speaking the same message, and I believe IEBC, both the Commission and the Secretariat, are watching this show and listening to some of the views of the gentlemen who are here with me in studio. Now, the images that you're seeing on your screen are from Kirinyaga County, where former devolution and planning CS has received her nomination certificate. Those are her supporters outside. Now this comes just a few days after a section of civil society released a list that includes 2 former CSs, 7 governors, 20 aspirants in total, who they want barred from running for elective seats in the August 8th elections. And of course they raised various issues that they feel those aspirants have broken in terms of the laws. According to this report, these aspirants are supposed to be barred due to either a violation of provisions under Chapter 6 of the Constitution speaking on integrity and leadership, the Elections Act, among other laws. Now, Anne Waigoro is in that list, and she has received her nomination certificate. for that. And of course, some would ask, how did this list get to the IEBC? Well, those are some of the things that IEBC is taking into consideration. Well, it's only the IEBC who can tell us, but what we know is that a section of civil society released a list with 20 aspirants, among them Anne Waigoro, Kazungu Kambi, Dr. Evans Kidero, Nairobi Governor, Hassan Joho, Mombasa Governor, Cyprian Awiti from Homa Bay, Kenneth Lusaka, Mwangi Wairia, Dr. Alfred Mutua from Machakos, Okoth Obado from Migori, and about 12 other aspirants, and they requested the IEBC to bar them from running for elective seats, stating that they should be barred due to a violation of provisions under Chapter 6 of the Constitution, the Elections Act, Leadership and Integrity Act, among other laws. Now, a few days after that, the IEBC, actually 2 days ago, the IEBC posted on its Twitter handle that they have received a report from the EACC with 106 cases on whom the enforcement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity needs to be done. Of those cases, 11 are under EACC investigation in the gubernatorial race, 1 from Senate, 2 from 2 are in the Women's County race, and 13 are in the members of National Assembly race as well. Let's listen in to Governor Kabogo's statement.
When you tell us that they are trained, yes, they cannot be changed. Or has IEBC taken a position that they must be the ones?
May I kindly respond to you?
Yes, yes.
First and foremost, I wish to appreciate your answer. And if you can remember, in our last pre-nomination meeting, we had made a request to all the candidates to kindly submit a written document specifying all the candidates.
That's not what you told me. You told me you'll take it up with IEBC headquarters.
I did.
And that you would provide us with a list of those officers that were seconded to Jubilee so that they don't participate in this exercise.
I stand to be correct.
That was your position. Are you asking me to write now?
No, may I kindly respond?
Yes.
Kindly, with your permission.
Yes, yes.
We have received so far in my office only one letter that could provide a copy of the same. The same letter was also addressed to the chairman with the details of the names of all the people who had participated in that in the primaries. If you make a request, written documents, I was not aware. Yes, I did. May I kindly finish? May I kindly finish? Okay. As for his case, when I came to Kiambu County, he was a gazetted officer. We are waiting for complaints from the public, including you as governor.
I have already complained.
If I can have a written, then I'll act as soon as possible with evidence. I will really appreciate. Could we?
I want to understand that you want it in writing.
Yes.
Not what you said last time. We're going to put it in writing.
I did.
But I want to say this now.
Yes.
This request, I made it personally in the pre-nomination exercise.
Not in written.
And I told you
yes,
that we have issues with people you seconded to Jubilee.
Yes.
And they participated as referees.
We did second.
I'm saying,
yes,
I am made to understand there are people who were sent to Jubilee to help them. And you've just said you have a list of them.
No.
What list did you just say you have?
I just said I received one complaint from one person in written about.
Let me just not make this an issue.
Yes.
He has just confirmed he participated in Jubilee nominations. He has just confirmed. Right here. These are the people I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
And what you are saying, we appreciate when we get of the public. My role.
I am not giving you information you don't have. It's just that you didn't say that day you need it in writing. We're going to put it in writing today. But what I am saying, you know that Jubilee or any other party was assisted by IEBC to conduct their nominations. I have a list of people that participated in Jubilee nominations and they are IEBC servants, so to speak.
May I respond to your question?
No, you want to respond to something that you have already attempted to, but you are not responding. I am saying our issue is very simple. Those people who participated in Jubilee nominations, or NASA for that effect, they ought not to partake to participate in the 8th August election. That's all I'm saying. Yes.
That is correct. That is correct.
So the gentleman sitting next to you on your left, he has confirmed, because I met him at the nomination, he has confirmed to me, and to you for that matter, that he participated.
May I kindly respond? Kindly. With your permission.
You're prolonging it. Can we leave it there or give you a letter in writing? That those people from IEBC, either temporary, permanent or otherwise, who participated and got remunerated by any party, they cannot participate in the general elections.
That is correct.
Yes. So that is my position. If you can assure us that you will take care of that, we can move on.
I also wish to tell you that I did the writer.
Yes.
Addressing all nominations addressed by all candidates who attended the nomination meeting.
Correct.
So about his case, I'm going to take it up immediately.
And any other like his.
Yes.
Excellent.
And as soon as I finish our exercise today, which is nomination.
Excellent.
As I said,
Excellent.
so first and foremost, I wish to congratulate you and to welcome you. You are going to be guided by the checklist. I have provided you a checklist so that you'll be able to roll. Asante sana. What does item 1 say, Mheshimiwa?
I have gone through this exercise 2 minutes ago.
No, we're just...
With your staff.
This is the final verification desk.
Says original ID.
Yes. Thank you.
Stamped that I have one.
Yeah, I hereby wish to confirm that I already have received item 1 on our checklist, which is the original and copy of the ID. May I kindly have your original ID? Original, kindly. There you go.
What was that exercise there for?
Sorry for that. I hereby wish to confirm again that this is the last or final verification process. I will not take long. May I kindly, with your permission, proceed? Thank you. So, final verification process. Still, you're going to use the checklist. And item 1 on my checklist tells me that I must reconfirm the original and copy of the ID, which I hereby wish to confirm that I have received the original and copy of the ID. Clearance, intention to contest as an independent candidate. I hereby wish to confirm as the county returning officer that I have successfully received the Form 11 and Form 11N and 11P. My item 3 will be confirmation whether or not aspirant is a registered voter. My item 4. My item 4. My item 4. Mheshimiwa, can you do the same, please? Thank you. My item 4.
I have capacity to multitask.
Thank you. Thank you for the help. My item 4, my item 5 is a clearance letter on symbol from IEBC. I had a wish to confirm that we have that. This is a symbol. My item 6 talks about the location of office within the electoral area. I hereby wish to confirm receipt of the same. My item 7 talks about duty field from 17, which Mheshimiwa has done that. My item 8, and that also applies to the deputy. My item 8, about 2 supporters, supporter 1, supporter 2, they must be registered voters within the electoral area, which is Kiambu County. I hereby wish to confirm the same. My item 9 talks about confirmation that the aspirants, supporter 1 and supporter 2, are not members of any political party. I hereby wish to confirm the same. My item 11 talks about duty fields, booklets, and a soft copy in Excel format of supporters. I hereby wish to confirm of the booklet and also copy of the supporters, which has been done in Excel. My item 12 talks about, can I proceed kindly? Item 19, which talks about statutory declaration for the purpose of nomination for parliamentary and county elections. Ours is county election. Item 13, talks about self-declaration form. I hereby wish to confirm that I have received self-declaration form in respect of my SHMIO, and it has already been endorsed by the Commission. My item 14 talks about colored passport photograph with a white background with name and ID at the back, and I hereby wish to confirm receipt of the same. My item 16 talks about electoral code of conduct, which must
We'll be going back to Kiambu County shortly, where Governor William Kabogo is having his time there with the IEBC. Now, when he got there, he sat, of course, facing the county returning officer. And before they could get into matters of nomination, he seems to have had an issue with some of the IEBC officials working in that county who he claims are on the payroll of certain parties. And he wanted some confirmation, or rather an assurance from the county returning officer that come August 8th, none of those officials will be there. They'll be transferred or moved to other divisions, because he wants a fair process. Let's continue listening in to that conversation between the IEBC and Governor William Kabogo.
I did this certificate and also a confirmation from the Commissioner for University of Education. I kindly have original documents. The degree certificate for both the candidate and the deputy. Thank you. Now I'm proceeding to receipting the check, which I have received, amounting to Kenya shillings 50,000 shillings. Now my role will be to, number one, to receipt the check that we have just received, and also to proceed and do a sample ballot paper for Mheshimiwa to be able to verify against the symbol and against the picture, and also do a certificate for Mheshimiwa to be able to verify the names before I append my signature. I require, kindly Mheshimiwa, about 5 minutes to 10 minutes for me to be able to complete.
As you do that, I want to ask you to give me the names of the person who sits on your left. And I do this under Article 35 of the Constitution, that the person is entitled to information held by an officer.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
So if you can kindly give me the names of this gentleman and his identification.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
For the purpose of the earlier issue we discussed.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. May I kindly request for permission for you to be able to advise me whether or not to complete this nomination process first, or to address this issue.
That is on the side issue.
Thank you. Now I'm proceeding to issuing a receipt, as I had already said, receiving the certificate of the check that I have already received, amounting to Kenya shilling 50,000. Thank you. man who has just left is our ICT expert in Kiambu County. Thank you.
It is a pleasure.
Thank you. With your permission, Mheshimiwa, I will kindly request a bit of the time I make a copy of this receipt. As we wait for a copy of that receipt to be made, as I had already earlier requested, for me to be able to address this issue, I will also kindly request a write-up. But before we do that, may I kindly proceed with the process. What we have done, we have just done a printed copy of the ballot paper. I could provide a clean paper if you will allow me. I will, Mheshimiwa. I'm happy to
Your
say.
designation is county manager?
Could we send the designation?
No, they do both.
Okay.
County
So
manager?
which one comes first?
Both.
May I kindly write for you? I'm the county elections manager, Kiambu County, at the same time, county returning officer for this exercise and for the upcoming general election. Now, I hereby wish to confirm that we have successfully printed a sample copy of the ballot paper and also a copy of the nomination certificate for Mheshimiwa to be able to verify against the following items. Number one, the picture that he provided to us in soft copy, and also the and on the certificate for him to be able to verify against the names. Kindly. Thank you.
This is correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have an issue here.
Yes, Mheshimiwa.
Normally,
Yes, Mheshimiwa.
under all other elections I have participated in,
Yes, Mheshimiwa.
the surname comes first.
May I respond kindly, Mheshimiwa?
You know what I want to ask already?
Okay. You kindly
I
finish
have
then.
not asked. So, okay, please respond.
Okay. Something I never mentioned. The surname is the name that is bolded. Can be identified by the bolded name.
So the surname is the one
name-
that you have put in bold.
Yes, Mheshimiwa.
This is also fine.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I'll kindly return the same to you for you to be able to append your signature anywhere within that. Thank you. And the date. Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
I didn't sign very much.
I'm sorry to tell you, Mr. I'm supposed to append my signature before I give you the receipt. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. May you kindly append it again to me? Thank you, Mr. your permission, Mheshimiwa, may I kindly proceed? I hereby wish to confirm that we have successfully printed the nomination certificate, and I'm kindly requesting from Mheshimiwa's direction before officially handing over the certificate to him. Can I do it?
Well, those are live images from Kiambu County, where Governor William Kabogo, of course vying on an independent ticket, has just received his nomination certificate. He was accompanied by his wife, Philomena, his running mate, Gerald Githinji, and their mission there has been successful. Now, he had raised a few issues, the first one being that he was concerned with some of the IEBC officials who will be overseeing the election come the 8th of August. He raised those concerns with the county returning officer, and she requested that they discuss those issues after they have finished with the nomination process, to which he agreed to. But he took about 10 minutes to air his views about certain IEBC officials there, or officials which he says, or who he says are working in cahoots, quote unquote, with certain political parties, and he feels that will affect his chances come the 8th of August. That was one of his questions. In addition, he also asked about the style of naming on the nomination certificate, wondering why it's not surname first, then his other names, but he was told that this time round the surname is in bold, and he also seems to have agreed to that as well. Let's see if he'll issue a statement immediately after receiving his certificate. He's receiving a few instructions from the county returning officer.
And may the best winner be the next governor of the Congo, the country which is bigger than Kiambu, Moranga, Nyeri, Mumbai, and a county with 2 Good. We wish you the best of luck here. The last candidate who's waiting in the room.
Well, a defining moment for Governor William Kabogo, who had at one point indicated that he would not be seeking the seat. The fact that he now has a nomination certificate in his hand, a clear indication that come August 8th, Ferdinand Waitito, the Jubilee gubernatorial candidate, or nominee, depending on which word you prefer to use, will be up against the incumbent Governor William Kabogo, who is also the immediate former Juja Member of Parliament, and he was accompanied to this particular IEBC gubernatorial nomination process by his wife. He has chosen to stick with his running mate, who is the Deputy Governor, Gerald Githinji, and of course their pledge is to finish the work that they started in Kiambu County. But of course it will be quite a fight, because Jubilee, very well known throughout Kiambu County, and a party that of course has well known within that area, and for Kabogo vying on an independent ticket, it will be interesting to see what he will be able to do in regards to that. We're now heading over also now to take a look at what's happening in other counties. Actually, let's stick with Kiambu, where Waweru Wanyambura, our reporter on the ground there, has an update. He'll be able to explain to us what's been happening with Governor William Kabogo and the whole IEBC nomination process. Waweru, what is the latest?
A very good morning to you, Waihiga Maura, coming to you from the county of Kiambu, where Kiambu governor has been finally cleared to vie for or defend his seat as the Kiambu governor in the 8th election, in the 8th of August election coming later on this year. There was a little altercation between him and the county elections manager, Mrs. Helen Kahindi. What the governor wanted is a clear identification of all the officials who will be presiding over the election. Because according to him, one of the officers who is seated next to Mrs. Kahindi is someone who participated during the Jubilee nominations, and according to Governor Kabogo, that particular officer is not supposed to be a part of the officials from Kiambu County who will be conducting the main election, because he has been paid by the Jubilee party. Therefore, according to him, he thinks that he could be biased. That is why there was a little altercation between him and the elections manager, but finally it has been cleared off. What the county elections manager now wants is a written governor, asking that all the officers who participated in the Jubilee elections be withdrawn. If that letter gets to the elections board or the IEBC, that means that they would look into whether those particular officers will be withdrawn from participating in the general election. But right now, a huge crowd waiting for the governor to get out of the IEBC offices so that probably they could escort him out of this vicinity. Right now, the governor is exiting. We will see if he will be having a brief presser with the members of the 4th and 6th. When he does that, we will be coming back to you. But right now, handing you over to Wahiga Mwaura.
Well, live environment, you never know what will happen there, but he's just been able to explain to us and give us some details on why it took Governor Kabogo so long to be cleared by the IEBC in terms of gubernatorial nominations. He explains that the governor had raised some issues about the officials who oversaw the Jubilee nominations process, and he feels that they should not be anywhere near Kiambu County come the 8th of August. He has been asked to write to the IEBC with his complaints, and they will act on them as soon as they receive that letter. So that is what happened and what is happening right now in Kiambu County. But the English version of Citizen Extra now takes a break. We hand over to the gracious Lulu Hassan, who will be continuing all the way until the lunchtime news. And of course, I'm sure the moment she takes over from me, she'll be able to go back to Kiambu County to bring that press statement when Governor Kabogo addresses members of the press. You're watching Citizen TV. Stay tuned.